How's it going? Yes, this is Master Trainer Brad here, and I'm going to be going over a video of a very popular question I've been receiving from different individuals, which the question is this: why does the price react the way it does sometimes? And how do you really find cards that are $2 to $3 that have the possibility to go to 30, 40, 50, $60 plus? Okay? So in this video today, I'm going to be breaking down for you guys what I look for, what other people look for, how to spot kind of some of these cards, as far as how to spot when cards have the good chance to run versus which cards you should probably avoid, as well as many other things and factors that collectors and alike investors are looking for when they're looking for different cards. So if that sounds good to you, then stay right here, and here we go. So for starters, I pulled up Ethan's Ho-Oh here from Destin Rivals. Very, very popular set, right? Everyone loves Destin Rivals. So for this video, I'm going to leave it as near mint. Cards only. Verified sellers. That's only what I buy. So I don't get anything otherwise. And so you'll see, right, the set comes out, price falls, right? As cards come out, right? As people open packs, everything, price plummets, right? Hits 139-ish, right here in June. And then it kind of stabilizes, right? Even as volume starts to fall, kind of stabilizes, and then look what you see. Price increases all the way up to 240, 250, in that range. Volume really dries up. And then look, boom, starts flooding back down, okay? And so one of the popular questions is, why does it do that, right? Because you'll see countless times people, like, there's so many charts that look like this from the 1 year, okay? And there's multiple reasons for why this happens, okay? One of the most common reasons, well, there's I would say two major reasons. The first reason is people that are buying the cards down here, right, at 150, 140, 130, in that range, they're probably buying more than one, right? They're probably buying two, three, four, five, right? And they're going to look to sell it for a decent profit within the next year, probably, okay? That's what their goal is, probably, okay? And when it does that, they'll get out. And so you'll see as it moves up, people will be selling, right? They get out. They go, well, I just bought this card at 140, and now it's worth 240. That's $100, right? So if they bought three, they would sell two, for example, and there you go, right? Your first one, then your one that you've left is actually free, plus you have extra cash in your pocket, okay? So that's one thing that can happen. And that happens constantly. And that happens on all different price cards, whether it's expensive cards, whether it's cheap cards. You'll see on certain cards, it'll be more extreme than others. But there's countless times where you'll see cards hitting in the $2 to $3 range for a long, long time. And then you'll see this will kind of tap out at like $6, $7, $8 in that range. And it's kind of funny because that means people said, well, when this doubles, I'm going to sell half my inventory and then I'll be good, right? I'll be good. I'll keep my remaining amount. I'm peachy, right? I'm great. So that happens, right? Definitely happens. Or people will trim their position on that card, and people know, right? As printing, because like in this example, Destin Rivals was new, right? It was brand new. So they know, well, when it keeps printing, as the price falls, right, I will then buy more later. And that's the other reason why it does this path right here. It falls, is there's more product coming out, right? There's more. It's easier to find the product to rip. Okay, right here there very easily could have been more of the Destin Rivals product being dropped on market, and people are ripping it, and then that means more product is available, and that means they list more product and they sell this card to get the money back out of it because they had a good hit out of it. And boxes now are a lot more expensive than they ever used to be, right? So then they're trying to recoup some of their cost. Countless things like that, okay? That is why a lot of times you'll see this is initial release. So wave zero, I call it wave zero, right? The initial release of the product. and then they might get wave one might happen. Like in this example, there's always waves that happen in Q4 for Christmas, right? For the holiday season. So that's why you'll see it happen on some of these cards, right? And you'll see it countless other ones, right? So one of the ways, like I said, as far as how to find cards that have staying power, right? That even when prices are severely decreased, how do you find card? Like, how do you know what card is a quote unquote good buy and what card's not, right? That's one of the biggest things people have no idea, right? Well, I'll tell you one thing right off the bat. Typically, trainer cards, you normally want to avoid. Okay, normally trainer cards you want to avoid. Some cards that are trainers that have Pokemon on them can do pretty well, right? Or there's some trainer cards where there's a bunch of Pokemon on them. Okay, I can see how that one might do all right, but typically you avoid them normally. Okay, so that's first things first. So usually stick to Pokemon. Okay. Next, ask yourself, is this Pokemon one of the original 151? Okay, is it one of the original? If the answer is no, then is it really a Pokemon, though, that is well liked? Okay? You have to consider that. Okay? Typically, the Pokemon that are more original, and by original, I'm saying even the upper echelon of original, right? Is it Charizard? And any of the Charizard evolves, right? Whether it's Charmander, Charmeleon, is it Blastoise, Squirtle, Wartortle, right? Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, right? Like, go through all of them, right? Venusaur. Like this card right here, Meowth. This card will probably... I mean, this card is going to smoke out this Dawn, and it probably won't even be close, right? Wait a couple years and see where the Meowth is versus Dawn. I'm telling you right now, it's not even going to be close, okay? Some of these cards that are the original Pokemon, and especially ones that are well liked, Meowth is actually has a bigger following than people think that they do. Okay. And now Charizard's probably always going to keep the top spot. Let's be honest about that. But you know, it's unbelievable when you start seeing some of these cards, right? Then the next thing I look for is, so I usually prefer original Pokemon, or at least some decent starters, right? This Piplup right here is super cute, right? I love this card. I mean, just from a image standpoint, it's a beautiful card, right? I don't own any right now, but I tell you one thing right now is I will own some. I love the card, right? I'll buy it when I think the price is right, which is not right now. But ultimately, though, I love this card, right? The card looks beautiful, okay? Now, here's one card that I have been buying, okay? Good old Wigglytuff. So, Jigglypuff, itself as a Pokemon, people love it, right? Just the cuteness and everything else of it. When I saw this card, and I saw how cute it was, and that brings me to one of my other big things. When people see multiple Pokemon and it's really cute action, it draws people in, right? And when you have this with the music and everything, it's just super cute card, right? Super cute card. Now, I realize women don't make up a big portion as a percentage of the hobby of people, but I feel like they are usually ones that love the Jigglypuff and this cute little Pokemon. So, but I have been buying this card already. Already have multiple copies of it, and will continue to be buying it on the way down. Okay, as this card falls, I will be continuously buying it. I like this card. I love this card. It's a very cute card. I would not mind holding on to this. And as you see here, there's massive amounts that are being purchased right now, right? A lot of these we purchased by graders and other people to have graded. Not me. I'm keeping it raw. And I'll wait till it appreciates a bunch, and then I'll look to sell it, okay? Or at least trim out of it. I should say trim out of my position. Not I don't sell stuff just all at once, dump. So, that's one thing. Next, look at rarity of card. Now, rarity is not everything. Okay, it's not everything. You'll see plenty of illustration rares that are more valuable than special illustration rares, which by definition, the special illustration rare you would think would be less copies, right? So it's not everything. Or here's a great example here. This Mega Charizard X EX, man, that's a lot of X EXs, huh? It's an ultra rare card. That's not even, in modern sets, that's nothing, right? That means you should pull these out pretty regularly. But look, it's still $36 and it's the number 3 card of the set, at least as of right now. Okay? That all matters. When you're looking at rarity, that matters to an extent. Okay? Keep that in mind. It only matters to an extent. If it's a Pokemon or a trainer that nobody likes, not that I'm looking at anyone in particular, or how about this one? Some of these cards, you're going to be parking your money there. Sorry, Mega Sharpedo. You're going to be parking your money there, and it's probably going to be there for a while, right? Like, I'm just being honest. Why? Because it's not a popular card, not a popular Pokemon. Is this cool looking? Sure. It's great. Would I buy this for a kiddo of mine if they really loved it? Sure, but not at $30. No. Maybe at $3, right? That's just the way this works, okay? So now this is an SIR, so I doubt it's necessarily going to hit $3, but maybe. But my point is, it depends on the Pokemon for sure. It totally depends on the Pokemon, okay? And some of these Pokemon that nobody's really heard of, like the average person hasn't walked up on the street and say, hey, do you know who Dugong is? They're like, what? Right? That matters. When they don't know what Pokemon it is, that matters, right? Look at all of these. That matters. This is a cool picture. I love this picture, right? I think this picture looks really cool. Doesn't matter. If nobody knows what the Pokemon is, does not matter. Now, you will get some that are pictures or Pokemon that people like that are mispriced. Happens all the time. Okay? Here's a great example of a card that people will probably think is cute. Check out the Yamper here on the illustration rare on the bed. Right? This is only a $2 card right now. Okay? It's only a $2 card of this Yamper, but it's on the bed. But look, do you see the price last 3 months? It's up 10%, it says, but look, it's flat. Just up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Why is it? Well, clearly there's plenty of inventory of this card, which it's still an illustration rare, right? But there's plenty of inventory of it, but people just are not making it go crazy. And do you notice anything about this? Look, you see the volume, how the volume's dying off? So that is usually not a good thing. Usually that follows with a fall of price in this example. Because there's more and more of these cards coming on the market, and if the volume's drying up, that means anyone who wanted this card already has it. That's usually not a good sign. Cute card though. I have pulled a couple of these that I'm holding on to. Again, it's a cute card, right? Especially if you love dogs. I get it 100%. But good luck. Now, Gengar. Usually one of very, very most favorited Pokemon among kids. Gengar is definitely up there towards the top, along with Eevee, along with Pikachu, and obviously Charizard. I would probably say Gengar is probably more popular than Blastoise and Venusaur, which is crazy to say that, but that's probably the truth, honestly. But, and for example, this card is, when you check out the actual list of Phantasmal Flames, as far as the card list, look, you see how far down it is on the list, right? What is this? That's 5, each row is 5, so 10, 15. Well, that's code card, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah, basically 15, 20. It's basically like the 20th card, right? That's obscene. So, and it's $2.52, right, for this Mega Gengar EX. Okay? Now, my guess is that a lot of people aren't buying this because they know Gengar is in other recent sets. So they don't necessarily think that they need to buy this. And on top of that, lately, for whatever reason, Pokemon has not been great about not copying the same illustration, right? A lot of times we're getting kind of copycat cards now. They're just changing the set it's in, and that is not exactly helping some of this either. But but some of these cards, like these Gengars and whatnot, keep an eye out for it. It does matter. Definitely matters. Now, again, this is a double rare card. Okay? That means there's a lot more of them. So, rarity does matter. Okay? Within the last 6 months, there's been almost 31,000 of them sold. Okay? Almost 31,000 sold. That's a lot. That's a lot. Now, this card will move a lot. And could this card hit, could this Mega Gengar hit $15, $20? Yeah, of course. Of course it can. It's Gengar. Any Gengar can hit that raw price for decent raw grade for sure, right? The question is, will it? At the end of the day, the question is, will it? Now, would I take a stab and give this one a shot? Probably not, just because there's a lot of other sets that have Gengars that are very well popular. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like, there's much worse. I'd rather take this Mega Gengar on this set over like a bunch of these personally. Yeah, like even over Dawn. Yeah, I'd much rather have Gengar over Dawn. So, for sure, like I would rather have the Gengar over most of these other cards. Honestly, that's just. I mean, there's quite a few that are good ones, but like our Flagon, no, hard pass, right? Hard pass. So, but keep that in mind, right? Keep that in mind when you're looking at some of these cards. Is this a popular Pokemon? That matters, okay? That definitely matters. The Mega Evolution now also has a lot of popular Pokemon too. Mega Kangaskhan, EX, $62, okay? Latias, very popular. SIR, right? These SIRs are really nice. It's again, I'd be avoiding trainers personally. That's just me. Unless the trainer has a bunch of Pokemon with them. Like I said, I would probably be avoiding them. Bulbasaur, I have a few of these personally, especially the stamped ones. I have the stamped one. This is not the stamped one, but Vulpix, I have some of these. I love this card. It's a super cute card of Vulpix, and it's a card. I like this card because it's also something that's not overly common. I don't see a lot of Vulpix cards that look like this. Really nice card. But again, look for cards that are of popular Pokemon. Okay, of popular Pokemon that you could pick up that would make perfect sense, right? That would fit along the line completely. So, for example, you could pick up Mega Venusaur, Ivysaur, Bulbasaur, all three of them, right? That's what, $150, $160 plus tax and shipping, right? So, look for stuff like that of some of these cards, of some of these Pokemon that are popular, that people really love. Now, I will say in the U.S., Bulbasaur and whatnot is not as popular as in like Japan and other places. But you still can do really well, right? And it looks like the Mega Venusaur is trying to set a floor here at about the 120 prices, right? Wasn't that long ago, and it was over double that. So, but I believe it lost its spot. Yeah. See, so that's the thing is, if it's not careful, the Latias could easily start coming up and pass it. So it has to be careful, right? So we'll have to see if the Mega Venusaur, buyers start showing up. Otherwise, it very easily can be picked away. If you want a less, if you don't necessarily need the SIR version, you can go for the ultra rare version if you like. It's right here. It's $11, right? In these modern cards, I will say, if you're looking for a card that can easily run, I would suggest, if you're looking to hold a card and you're okay holding a card for, let's say, 5 to 10 years, okay, rarity always will matter. But if it's a really popular Pokemon and you're gonna wait 10 years, it probably matters less. Like, it definitely matters in the grand scheme of things, right? If there's a card that was 100 of them made, and there's another card that was 30,000 of them made, obviously one is gonna have way more of them floating around than the other. Okay, but I would also say it matters on the Pokemon, but it also matters on the image, right? It matters on the image and what the image shows, right? And what it ultimately conveys and whatnot. So, if you see a Pokemon here that you like the image of it and the look of it and everything, and it's not insanely priced, pick it up. Okay, you're not always gonna have these chances, especially on these newer sets. That's the other thing I was gonna say, is when I look for some of these cards that are depressed prices that I think are worth more than that, what I do is I'll a lot of times look at the newer sets, but I'll look to buy some of these singles when they've already been depressed in price. Okay, I don't look to buy these singles when the price of the singles is already high. No, I'm not necessarily looking when the price is already rebounded. No, I want to look when it's like the lowest it's gonna be for a bit, right? Unless it's a big reprint or something. I want to look when it's, yeah, like in this example, this Vulpix, right? Buying it when it's 10, 11, $12, under 13 for sure, right? Don't look to buy this card when it's 30. No, I want to look to buy it when it's down here, right? And I can buy it 3 of them, 4 of them, whatever. And then when it hits 25, 30, guess what? I can sell half and then keep my other half and I'm good, right? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at these cards. Find ones that you like the picture of, right? That way, if you're holding on to long term, you don't mind. I don't mind if I have 100 of these and I have to hold on to them for 5 years. I'll just keep looking at it, right? Not a problem. The other thing to really keep in mind is, like I've said before, is when there's many Pokemon in one picture, that's very common to people like that photo, okay? They love that photo. And that's one of the things with the one set, Ascend to Heroes, I believe it is, the top chase, right? The Charizard. When you have the Charizard, come on. I don't know if the internet's being slow or TCG player. Okay. No, wrong set. But anyways, when you have the chase Charizard, right? It's much different than the. It goes much different than versus when you have other. Let me see. So here's Gengar I was talking about earlier, right? This Pikachu, by the way, is super popular. Was falling at one point. Pikachu's another great one. I love having Pikachus. Love having Pikachus. They're overly. They're just people. Yeah, I think it's TCG player having issues right now. With the Pikachus, it's the mascot for Pokemon for a reason, okay? And it's ultimately, people love collecting Pikachus, right? And when you have a cute one like this, like I said, again, cute cards make a world of a difference. It really does. World of a difference. I don't think it's officially, let's see. So, and then like this Psyduck, people have been talking about this Psyduck a lot. How they're loving it because how cute it is and everything. Like I said, Now this set you're getting where the cards are too new. I wouldn't want to touch this set yet because the card price hasn't really settled down yet, if that makes sense. So I would, if it was me, I would prefer to wait until I'd prefer to wait until I don't think it's in. Wait until the price comes more to you, right? Don't just jump in and do the whole bit. Maybe it is Phantasmal Flames. Oh, it is. It's right here. That I was talking about earlier. So one of the things that I love about this card in particular is that you have all the forms, all the previous evolves of Charizard, right? You have, you know, Charmander, Charmeleon, the regular Charizard, then of course the Mega Charizard, right? So when you start having artwork like this, where they're multiple all in one, people are gonna love and flock to this card, okay? Because you have the whole evolution cycle of Charizard on this one card, okay? That is going to be a card that is going to be well received and well requested constantly, okay? Now, is this card going to go down to $2? No, obviously not. It's an SIR of Charizard, right? It's not going to be a $2 card ever, okay? But I think you're catching my point of it will continue to be in demand. And that's because of just the whole artwork and the fact that it's, the fact that it's top chase alone will, of course, cause people to want it. But, here's another version of Lily's Clefairy. Again, very cute card, right? Trainer hugging her Pokemon. That's a cute one, right? People love that. Love. Any of these cute cards. Now, the other thing I will say is this. Don't sleep on the promo cards. Especially on older promo cards are my favorite. Okay, because this happens constantly again. Because when these promo cards run, okay, when they're promo, they only are in whatever product they're in. Okay? If that product is over and done with and they're not making any more of it, that's it. Okay? That's it. You're at the liberty of whatever it is. Okay? So, don't sleep on these cards. Any promo cards. Especially if the set's been out for some time, right? Don't sleep on the set. Any of these cards that are promos. You'll see them. They'll rip up. And then they'll dump more, right? And here's one that came out, right, November. And dumps starts at way up here, right? Some people were paying as high as $45 for this card. $43 for this card. Then it falls all the way down to $9 and change within a few months by Valentine's Day, right? Then it rebounds all the way up to $13, $14, right? Some as high as 18. And now it's at 11. Okay? $12 essentially, right? So, again, now, follow the rules. Okay, how's the picture? Well, the picture looks okay. It's different, right? It's different. Not my favorite picture, but it's different. Not an original Pokemon, though. So that's a negative against it. It is promo, so that part's good. But then one of the things you have to think about is, well, what promo is this in, right? Like, in other words, what product do you have to open to get this promo, right? And if the answer is something super easy, like let's say a $30 pack of something, right? A booster lane blister, let's say, right? Then this card will not have mass appreciation early on because those packs will be refilled like the snap of your fingers, right? Now, if it is a ETB, it's different, okay? It's different. So, or if it's a special EX box or that kind of thing, it's completely different, right? Then when you have some of these, like this guy, which is from the actual ETB itself, right? And even that, it was split between him and Alakazam. So you didn't even know which one you were going to get anyways, right? Could be either one. But when you have this, again, buying on buy the downturn for the upside. Okay? Could this card, which by the way, the first one now for near mint here is $8.20. That's the cheapest card now. Well, this card wasn't that long ago. No, it's already $6. So if you were loading up here in December at $5, $6, okay, and now it's already going to $8, $9, you've already almost doubled your money, and it's been like 2-3 months, December to 3 months to March, right? So you're telling me in 3 months you're already up like 70% on your money? That's crazy, right? That's crazy. Now, sure, you got to pay fees and everything else, unless you're selling it at a card show, right? You're gonna pay fees and everything else. So it might be harder to get your money out, but so maybe you want to wait till it hits, I don't know, $12 or $13 before selling. But my point still stands of, look for some of these promo cards. Can be great value, especially within 6 months of when they came out, right? Which again, this card was released with the ETB in September. December, that's only a couple months, really, right? Only a couple months. And then, boom, starts to take off, starts to increase and go up, okay? That matters. Obviously, if you are buying the, and here's the Alakazam I was talking about, right? So both of these promos right here, you don't know which one's in your box. You rip the box open and whatever one's got it, whatever ones you got. You don't know. You have no idea. And that's the first, and then you also have this guy, which I recently picked this one up myself. Again, I picked up, I'm starting to pick up this guy, right? I just think it's a cool card at a concert, right? Now, do I think this is going to be some super, super crazy card? Probably not, right? But again, shows up in ETBs, and like it or not, ETBs are still hard to get, not like they're everywhere. And this card in particular, I mean, sure, dumped to $1 and change. I bought mine under $2, right, under $2. Lots of chances to get in, right? And, is this original Pokemon? No. Right? Is this cool artwork? I think it's okay, right? It's at a concert. I think it's okay. But I don't think it's the best artwork in the world, right? There's no other Pokemon here, right? It's just different. It's very different, very unique, and I still see a lot of volume buying it. So that's why I kind of wanted to have this personally. I just thought it's kind of cool, different artwork. So that's what I was going with. Again, you do you. Mega Charizard Y and Mega Charizard X, both of these were in the Charizard tins, which, again, they're promo cards though, right? So these are only in those tins, right? So, and that's something that people have to understand is they're going to be limited then to however many tins that they make, right? So if they print, let's say they print, I don't know, 3 million tins, let's say, right? Then they're only going to be, well, and out of those 3 million tins, half are one, half are the other, right? So there's only be 1.5 million cards, let's just say, okay? 1.5 million. Okay? It sounds like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not. So if there's only 1.5 million of them, but then the other packs are being opened all the time, constantly. There might be, 100 million packs, and of those 100 million, you're going to find way more than 1.5 million, even of the more expensive Charizards, right? And so that's kind of my whole point with some of that is when you start looking at the difference in price, but yeah, guess what? This Mega Charizard Y right now is at $4.84, right? This card, cards like this that are Charizard, that come in the tins, that anyone can buy those tins and have this card. Guess what? these are the cards to watch. These are the cards that you should want to own. Okay? If you don't own any of them, this might be a good spot to get one or two. Just because they're at $5. And these tins, they're coming out a lot, but guess what? They're not completely everywhere, right? Coming out, in some of the stores, but they're not going overly crazy. But, could you get this card at $2 later? You might. You probably will, right? Because they're still making those tins. So you probably can get them at a couple bucks later. But there's also a chance you can't, too, right? So, and if you like this card, this Mega Charizard EX, it's a really nice card. It's not a bad opportunity, right? And the thing is, too, is that if you like graded product, if you like graded cards, it might be a good idea also to, not necessarily on this card because this hasn't been out that long, but other products where the card has been out for a while, look to see if you can pick up especially if you're bullish on the overall card, like this guy, right? I might look to see, okay, how much is PSA 10 going for, right? And just buy a PSA 10, especially if you can get a good price. What my favorite thing to do was, prior to this current cycle right now, one of my favorite things to do was to look and see what promo cards I can get and a high PSA grading. So usually PSA 10 is all I look at. But I would say, okay, well, PSA 10 of whatever Charizard promo, okay? And I was buying some from Obsidian Flames for like $25-$30. PSA 10s, okay? That's absurd. Absurd. Especially now when you see it and they're like well over a couple $100 for one. And it's unbelievable to me that people at that point, they were selling the card for effectively the card itself is effectively next to nothing. They were just basically trying to get their grading money back. Right? Like that's all they were doing was trying to get their money back just from the grading fee. That's it. And that's a PSA 10s, right? There's no guarantee that they were even getting all 10s. They could have easily gotten a bunch of 9s and then those cards were what? Worthless? So, and people were dumping these, right? They were just dumping them everywhere. And that's kind of my point, right? Is that you have to watch what you're doing. This Mega right here was in the Mega Kangaskhan EX box, right? Again, it will ultimately depend on how many of these were printed, right? Now this one, is this the one with Journey Together stamp? Because I have the one with the Journey Together stamp. Let me see. No, so this one does not have the stamp on it. So, but the Zekrom, there's one that has the stamp that says Journey Together on it, and that one came in the enhanced booster box. So, I haven't looked up exactly where this one came from. I would assume it'd be a Journey Together box. Like maybe no, it can't because it's Mega Evolutions. There's definitely a box that came in. I don't know off the top of my head, but the one that I have, it says Journey Together on it, and you can get them. They're like $15-$20 right now, I want to say. But that's only for the enhanced booster boxes. That's the only way to get them for a Journey Together. But yeah, and so you'll look here, right, and you'll see like there's definitely opportunities for some of these, right, where like this card right here. If you like Kangaskhan as a Pokemon, I love it personally. That's just, I think they're super cute and everything else. But this card is under $50, or sorry, under 50 cents, right? People are not going to be fighting for this thing anytime soon, right? So if you're buying a bunch of these, expect this card to probably not be worth much more than $1.50 within the next probably 2 years, right? This is a card that if it starts to run at all, it'll run way later, okay? Not now, okay? So just understand that, because again, this is in the box, the Mega Kangaskhan EX box that it comes in each of those boxes. So, because again, that definitely matters. But But yeah, so check out the different promo cards. Like I said, look for cards that are attractive looking cards. Okay, that are, I find in some of these sets, if the set's like a year old or around a year old, look for some of these cards where they're not insanely expensive, right? So like here's the Team Rocket Meowth, right? Again, we talked about it earlier because of the cuteness of it. Do you see what it's having here? 23, 24, 25 range, right? Price wise. Rips up and hits about 40, 50 bucks. Okay? So again, people basically essentially double their money. So they dump, right? So quickly sell off the ones you got. Okay? Make your profits. More product comes out too, right? Right before the Black Friday, Christmas shopping. More product comes out and dumps this card to $17, $16, $15. Okay? That matters. This all matters. And then guess what? When it dumps, they can be rebuying, right? Rebuy back in. If you bought it, we're at 25 or 23 or 24, whatever, you're dropping it, you're selling it all at $40 to $50, and it comes back to 17, 18, 19, you can rebuy back in and get some more of them, right? And just sit and wait. Because ultimately, that's kind of what you're doing on this, right? You're just kind of trading some of these single cards, and as long as you're not buying the direct only rips, same thing here, like I said, in the 50s, rips all the way up to 75 plus, sells back off to 40, now it's back up to 60 again, 70, depending on the copy you want. That's my point. You have to be able to understand what you're doing on some of these singles. Don't buy it when it's just straight up ripping if you don't know what you're doing with these singles, because it will eat you alive. You could be buying in a wrong part of a cycle. That definitely matters. So like I said, look for cards that are cute. Another card that people never expected to run is from the Obsidian Flames promo from the ETBs. I'll pull it up right here. I love these EV ones as well. It's got near mint. The Snorlax is super cool box as well. These guys, these Charmanders, right? So this is the special Pokemon Center one. Here's the regular one. So I have many of these ones. Okay, these were all over. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. These were like $5. I'm not even joking either. It was obscene how cheap these got. $5, $6. It was obscene. Okay, it wasn't that long ago. Within the last year, the lowest I got looks like was like $15. Okay, $12 to $15 was the lowest it ever got. Looks like, but so this card here, I mean, I was getting them for 5 to 6, 7 in that range. Again, I was looking for a popular card that people love, which Charmander people love it. I thought it was super cute. You have the Pidgeys out front here that he's clearly kind of grumpy, pushing against the window here, right? You see that, you can tell by the head here, right? You can see the pushing the skin. It's just, I love this photo. Like, it totally reminded me of my kids kind of thing, right? Where they're just looking at the bird, getting all jealous, and you see a flame come off his tail. I love this card. Just totally speaks to me. And so I was buying it, right? I'm like, well, it's like I said, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that range. Just kept buying them. I'm like, man, this beautiful card. Check back a week later, still same price. Buy more of them. Come back, a few weeks later, still same price. Buy more of them, right? And I told myself, as long as this card stays under $8 every week, I'm be forced to buy some. Well, look at it now. It's starting to run, right? And it's over $70. Looks like some of the copies, it says, let me go to 1 month. Some of the copies says they're over 100, which seems a bit much. A couple of days ago, it looks like some sold at 109. That's absurd. But yeah, I mean, even today, look, one sold at $79, right? I actually still have not sold any of them. I'm just kind of waiting because I still think Obsidian Flames and some of these other sets are bound to run more. I don't think they've really fully made a move yet. So I actually think this Charmander still has room to run. How scary that is. Considering it is, sorry for whipping around there, considering it's up 70% for 1 month. It's almost doubled in a month, guys. In a month. 3 months, it's up 111%. In 3 months. Since Christmas? That's absurd. There's $33 card, $34 card in Christmas. Right? 6 months? Look at this. That's absurd. Right? And that's my point. Is you will see this. And look, you still have people buying the card even as it's moving up in the 40s. People are still loading up and they're buying this card. Why? Because it's a very valuable, very cool, cute card. Price supported it well and it continued to start moving up. And this was kind of your last bid for these weeks to be buying if you're going to. Now, exploded higher. So, well, 150 for it would be extremely high. Let's see. Yeah, your cheapest right now is $73, and it jumps to 75, 77, 77. Let's see, 78, 78. This guy right here, this person in Miami has 28 of them at 78. So my guess is they probably bought them in the 30s, and they're wanting to just again get out of a bunch of them. I probably need to sell one. Just because of, I should probably sell at least a few of them, just because of where they're at money wise. Because it's just might as well. If you and keep that in mind, if you never hit the register to sell any of your cards when they have gone up a lot, then what happens if the market drops tomorrow or next week, and you haven't sold any of your cards that were running up a bunch, right? Well, now you're trying to sell as it's falling. You're going to lose out a lot of money, right? So it's important to slowly piece out your collections if you're going to, or piece out your product that you want to get rid of, right? If you have a bunch of 151 ETBs, let's say you have 6 of them. Well, if you haven't already sold one, what are you waiting on? It's like they've already up so much. For sure, sell at least one. And then wait and see how it moves, right? And if it starts heading down a little bit, if you decide to sell another one, I won't be surprised, right? If you want to wait, then so be it, right? But it's up to you. But you should for sure be taking profits at some point in time. Otherwise, you're just gonna ride stuff back down to the next bear market. Like that's not enjoyable. So keep that in mind. But anyway, so like I said, let me see, 83, 85. Yeah, I mean, jumps in the 90s pretty quick to 100. 100, yeah. So wouldn't be surprised if it runs to 100 soon. I love photos like this too. So this is Lost Origin, right? This is part of the trainer gallery though. So again, this is kind of what I talked about, what not to do with trainers. But like I said, is if they have their Pokemon with them. Now, technically, this is part of the trainer gallery, but this is Pikachu. So technically, this is a Pokemon card, right? Not a trainer card, but it is part of the trainer gallery. So, but obviously, it's a very cute card, right? And so, obviously, very cute card, very popular card, as people have been, picking up on it. And look, right, all through this last year, through summer, it was a $12 to $15 card. See? Spikes to 30 in September. Sells off. Hits $20, $19. Now look. Boom. Hasn't stopped since then. Now it's 35. So, like I said, it's very important, when you're looking at some of these cards like this, just some of these really cute cards that are out of print, like Lost Origins out of print. Okay, they're not coming out with more of these. They're out of print. So if they're out of print, they're out of print, right? But this card, it wasn't that long ago, and this card was even less than $12. Okay, that's my point. Look for these cards like this that are very cute looking cards, right? And if you see ones like this, that's the time when you should be getting it, is when it's depressed prices. You don't only just buy when stuff is ripping. It's not the way to always do it, right? Sure, you can look here and look to buy, some of these cards when they're moving up. Like, that's one thing I will say about Lost Origin here, the trainer gallery, is that they hit so many of these popular Pokemon, right? Snorlax, very popular Pokemon. Gengar, Charizard, Pikachu, see that? So when you start having this, Mew, I mean, it's a VMAX version, but, when you're having this kind of stuff, all of these, look, Arcanine even, when you start having this, it's very, the set is just a gorgeous set, right? And, just kind of understand kind of the set you're working with, right? I mean, these are let me switch to near mint, right? So here you go. Pikachu VMAX, most expensive card, 92 and change. The Pikachu V, 80 and change. Gengar, hanging out with Trainer, right? Ultra rare card, 46 and change. Of course, Pikachu's 35. Charizard, 27 and change, right? And you start going down the list, and it's just, this set is just a lot of great, cute artworks. So just keep that in mind on some of these, like I said. Now, Lost Origins, it has already been a very popular set, so don't expect this set to become the next 151 kind of thing. Like, it's a very very popular set as it already is. But just understand that there's a lot of great artwork in some of these sets. And so because there's a lot of great artwork, there's going to be a demand there for it, right? Behind any of these sets with these beautiful artwork. So with that said, if you guys have any more questions, just go ahead and let me know below. I'm here to answer your questions or give you any pro tips. I've been doing this now I've been collecting Pokemon. I started in the 90s with the original base set. Unfortunately, don't have any of those cards anymore. But I started collecting sealed product about 14 years ago. So I've been around the Pokemon world for a while, right? I've seen a lot of different market cycles, boom and busts. I've seen a lot of different ways to invest in cards, invest in singles or sealed product. I've seen ways to, countless times, some sealed product might have been $1, $2 for a pack of cards, right? Especially during some of the XY era, right? And because nobody wanted a lot of it. And then it went from $2 per pack of cards hitting now like $70 or $80 or $90 per pack. When you start talking about gains like that, and you're talking about over the cross of, if you'd case as a product, right? You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, it's a lot of it's about what you make of the situation. But one of the things I will say is study what other people are buying, see what works, right? If cards are going parabolic, why? Right? Bubble Mew is a very popular Pokemon. It's a very popular Pokemon. It's Mew, right? It's in a bubble. Sure, I get it. But it's a very popular Pokemon as it is, right? So when you start seeing some of these Pokemon that go really big, right? Eevee is also super, super massively popular Pokemon. Again, when you start seeing this, these products coming out, and you start looking at some of these, and you go, wow, this product, this Eevee, this Pokemon Center, Eevee promo card that was only in the Pokemon Center prismatic, ETBs. Oh, so now it's at 65. Oh, that's a good price of this. And, start looking and seeing, okay, well, if the card is, 50 or $60, but it used to be 150 or 130 or whatever, maybe you should pick one or two of them up, right? Maybe you should pick it up. Especially, like I said, when it's an iconic card. And these Pokemon Center ones are going to be more rare because they're only from the Pokemon Center ETBs. So that does give them an advantage for that. So, but if you guys, like I said, have any other questions or anything, let me know. Thank you for watching the video. And thumb up, comment on it. It would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe if you haven't already yet. Continue to grow this channel by just straight up hard work with doing the videos. If you guys have any questions, like I said, let me know below. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.